Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Sahil and I'm a software engineer and I do full stack development, but I majorly focus on front end. So I've been doing front end engineering for about 2 years, and I think that's it about me. And in this video I want to share my front end engineering interview experience, which I had interviewed for Quizizz on September 2023. So just want to share my interview experience with you. Maybe you have an interview lined up for front-end engineering, or maybe if you are interviewing for Quizizz, then it's really great. But yeah, the target audience for this video is going to be someone who is into front-end engineering, who is preparing for front-end interviews, and especially with who is a fresher or with 2 years of experience. So the interview experience is regarding that. So I had interviewed for Quizizz for front-end engineering role, and which which required around 2 years of experience. So I think you can sort of gauge from that. So do you fall into that target category or not? And if you are falling into target category, make sure you watch the video. It will surely help you. It will surely help you see how the pattern is in front-end space right now, sort of what kind of rounds you have, what kind of questions you should be prepared for. So it will help you in general. And not only this, watch other front-end engineering interview experience video online on YouTube. So that will help you judge how you can prepare for your interviews. But I think if you do not fall into that category, maybe you can share it with someone who is a target audience for this video. And I think without further ado, let's get into the interview experience. So I interviewed for Quizizz in September 2023 for a front-end engineering role, which required 2 years of experience. And at that time I had around 1 year of experience, but I still applied. And how did I get the interview? I applied via referral. So I knew a guy who worked at Quizizz, and I knew that guy. So I sort of reached out to him, texted him I want to apply for this role. Will you be able to refer me? And that's how I got referred and I got the interview. If you are applying, so the referral is the best way to get, or like the quickest way to get. And I'm sure you know how to ask people for referral. So if you don't have a connection, if you don't know someone personally, you can always text them on LinkedIn, send a professional message that you want to be referred. Can you refer me for this role, etc., etc. And you know the rate, right? So I'll not go in detail about that. So yeah, that's how I got the offer, via referral. And about after a week or so, I got a call from Quizizz team, the talent acquisition team over there, and they did a sort of a phone call interview. They told me why do you want to join Quizizz? Where are you currently? What technologies have you been working on? What is your overall experience? So all those general questions. So you might as well want to sort of be prepared for such questions if you are applying, and they sort of shortlist you, right? So prepare for that. So that's how I did that phone call interview. And then the talent acquisition team set up the interviews for me. Now this is the right time to sort of ask questions regarding the role. So what you will be primarily working on, what would be the tech stack, or whatever questions you have in your mind, just clarify it with them. So I asked her a lot of questions regarding the role, and also regarding the interviews, how many rounds of interviews do I have to clear, what kind of interviews it would be, what should I focus on, how can you sort of give me some resources to prepare. So sort of ask these questions during it is important to ask such questions so that you know how to prepare for it, and you know what kind of things are coming your way, right? So I did that, and that's how my interviews got scheduled. So she told me there would be 3 rounds. So first would be a screening round, second would be a problem solving round, and third would be a culture fit and / managerial round. So yeah, there were 3 rounds, and these 3 rounds were scheduled. So let's talk about the first round. And after a week or so after this call, the first round was scheduled. It was an online interview round, which was on a Google Meet, I guess. I don't remember. But yeah, so the first round was a screening round, okay, and it was taken by an engineer at Quizizz, and yeah, so let's get into the interview questions. So he asked me, so I have listed down the questions because so that I don't forget. Yeah, so firstly, sort of started with introduction, and and it started with JavaScript basics. So like, what is the difference between let, const, and var? Then you have hoisting in JavaScript, and then event bubbling and event capturing. So these are the 3 questions he asked me in first regarding the basics. I did answer them well, so that was good. Then the second part of the interview was output based questions. Okay, so the first output based question was the set timeout plus promises. So I'll put the code sample in a screenshot or somewhere over here, so you might be able to see it. So yeah, I mean, the first question was a mixture of set timeout and promises. So you are given a set timeout and you are given a promise, and you have to decide what would be printed in the console, and that's sort of it. If you know event loop, and you know how the callback queue and the priority queue or the microtask queue, sort of those work, then you will be able to answer this question easily. The second output based question was this based on this keyword, and I'll put the screenshot also over here so you can see the output, and you need to sort of decide what would be console. And I have struggled with this in a while, and I sort of didn't answer this correctly in the first go. I mean, I answered it partially right, and then he told me what's going to be the answer. Like, this is the wrong answer. He told me this is going to be the output. Now can you tell me why is this the output? And I was able to explain the reason, like where I was wrong. And if you are not able to guess the correct output, maybe after answer try to explain him where you went wrong and why do you think that is going to be the output. So that's how I was able to explain this. Then there was a third output based question, which was a tricky one. Okay, so this is the sort of I'll add the screenshots over here. So it had a loop and it had a set timeout, and there was some array manipulation that was been going on, and you need to console the array and you have to guess the output for each iteration. So have a close look into this. I would leave it up to you. Even I did struggle, but I was able to answer this question after looking through it very nicely. So look at this code very carefully, see each line what is happening, and then you'll be able to figure out the answer. So these were the 3 output based questions that were there. Then the third part of the interview was a machine coding round. So in the machine coding round, I was asked to make an accordion component. So if you don't know, an accordion is it's like a sort of a nested file structure. You can assume the file explorer of a VS Code if you have used that. So you have a parent file, and then if you click on that file, all the other subdirectories open. So that subdirectory would have some other subdirectory. So that's sort of a component I was told to make, and I was told to code it in a code sandbox, and I was allowed to use any framework or anything I want. So if you work in Angular, you can sort of code it in Angular. If you are in React, so you can code it in React. And I knew React very well. I've worked with React in past, so I did code it with React, and I'll link that code sandbox in the description of this video, so you can check that code sandbox and how I did that. So I'll leave it up to you how I implemented it. I think the major the thing over here was to manage the state properly, and if you are able to manage the state, you can, if you are able to think how you can construct this component, then half the game is done. So I think these kind of questions sort of you will master it by practicing. So practice such kind of questions, like where you have to make a component, maybe a stopwatch component, like something like this accordion, so that you can find these on the internet and you can sort of practice this. And I'll link the code sandbox for your reference for this. Okay. So that was round one. It was for 1 hour, but it continued for like 1 hour 30 minutes because of this question as well. So 1 hour 15 minutes, I guess. Yeah. So after this, I asked some questions to the interviewer about, the culture and, what are the areas I need to focus on. And that's how the first round ended. And the feedback loop was really quick. I got the feedback the same day that, you have cleared the interview and, we'll be setting up the next interview for you, which would be a problem solving round. And, it was scheduled after a week. Now, these problem solving rounds was not like the typical software engineering rounds that you see, where you are asked TSA questions. So this was specifically for front-end engineering, and that's why, again, I was asked to make a sort of a project kind of thing. And in this round, I had to make a sorting visualizer. So you will be given an array, and those arrays has to be represented by bars. The length of the bar would be on the value of array, and then you have to sort of select any sorting algorithm, and that should sort in real time. So that was the project. And again, I have the GitHub repository to this, so I'll sort of link it down somewhere, so you can check that out of how I made it. And I've actually hosted it also on GitHub, so I'll also add that link for your reference, and I'll add a screenshot over here as well of how it works and what I was expected to build. So I did this for most of the part, the state management and how the sorting. So I picked up so the interview told me to pick up insertion sort. So I wrote the logic for insertion sort, and the array had to be sorted based on the insertion sort of how insertion sort algorithm works. I was able to do for the most of the part. I did struggle with the animation bit, and that's and the interview also sort of constantly helped me out of how you get. So it's sort of a two-way thing, think out loud of what you are thinking, of how you are going to structure it, so that the interviewer also knows what you are planning. And if you're going somewhere wrong, he can nudge you into right directions. And that's what happened with me. I was constantly coming. So think of it like a collaborative project of where you both are working in a team and you're sort of building it, like in an actual real scenario. That's what's happened when you're going to work over there. So think of it like a collaborative thing where you sort of discuss with him and you build it out. And that's how you sort of approach these kind of interviews. And I was able to do this. I did move for the most of it, but also I got little nudges from the interview as well. So he was very good, and you are supposed to handle such interviews with that. Okay, so that was round 2. And even that day, I got the good news that you are selected for the final round. And the final round was an on-site round, which was in Bangalore. So I had to fly to Bangalore for that round, and it was scheduled after 2 weeks, I guess, after 2 weeks of the second round. And it was a culture fit and manager round and all that. So I went to the Quizizz office, and that was a good office, and I liked the vibe. I met people. That was good. But let's jump into the interview experience. So in this sort of culture fit round, I was basically asked questions regarding my resume, of what I had done in past. What was your experience, what things you did into these organizations, how do you handle a challenging project, what is the thing that you did in past that you take the most pride in, how do you optimize your front end, what technologies or what concepts would you use for optimization. So it's like debouncing you use, and like caching and everything. So you can mention all this stuff. So that was like the first part of the interview. So it was like basic HR as well as behavioral, as well as based on your resume. So make sure you thoroughly go through your resume and you sort of think through some scenarios, of what kind of questions that can be asked revolving your resume, and have some sort of stories to sort of explain, or like the best projects that you have worked on, the projects that you like. So have stories revolving your resume. Okay, that was the first part. The second part was a surprise, okay, for me. And the second part was a system design round, and I didn't expect it, and I had already cleared it with the talent acquisition team, the call which I had earlier. I asked them, is it going to be is there going to be a system? And she told me, no, there's going to be no system design round for you, because you just have sort of 2 year or less than 2 years of experience, so we won't be asking you. But in this interview, it was the manager who took the interview, and he was very good actually. But yeah, he was asking me great questions, but at the end he asked me a system design round, and it was a low level system design, and I didn't practice system design before this, so I was confused sort of how to answer this, what is an approach that you take to answer this question. And it was sort of an autocomplete sort of input, which was based on API, so you had to design that, and it was fairly easy, I would say, if I would have practiced it. But at that time I wasn't able to answer it in the perfect way, and in the way I was not able to satisfy or convince the interviewer, right? He thought I could have done better on this, but I mean, yeah, I didn't do well in this, and that was the reason for my rejection. And after a day or two, I got a message from that we won't be going forward with you. In the final round, you didn't meet the expectations of the interview, and that's how it went. I did feel bad regarding the rejection, because I had done really well in the first and second round, and partially the third round also. But yeah, because of system design, I got rejected, and I didn't take this as a negative thing. Rejections are part of your life, and I think you will also face rejections at some point of time. So, and if you don't, that's good. But even if you are facing rejections, just don't be demotivated. Take it as a positive thing. I started learning system design from there, and so that in next interviews, if I'm asked system design, I'm able to answer that. So sort of learn from your past experiences and learn from others' experience also. That's why I'm creating this video, to share my experience, and maybe this will add like 1% to your preparation. Okay, so I think that's my just take on this, is to if you're preparing for front-end interview, just be good at your JavaScript, make projects, know your framework very well. If you're an Angular or React, just know your framework very well, make projects regarding that, and also practice a little bit of system design, maybe not much, but a little from my experience. And just be positive, just bring your best thing, don't get demotivated, and just by this, and just keep working hard, keep applying, if you're struggling. And I know it is difficult for a fresher to find a job right now. At least it was difficult at those time in August, September, because there was a recession. So I know I've been through that phase where I didn't have any job, and I was sort of constantly applying and stuff, and it is difficult. So sort of hold on to that. It's a hard time, and with some sort of that will pass away. Just be positive, just keep working hard, and chill out also a bit. Okay, I think I would say. And I think that's it for the interview. These were the rounds. I hope these helped you, and if you like the content over here, I'll suggest you to like this video, and also subscribe to my channel. Also share it with your friends if you think that this content will help them. So I think that's it for me. Bye, see you in the next video. I forgot to mention this in the video, but I also have a Medium page or Medium article for this video. So if you don't like watching videos, if you like some written content, I have added the actual questions, link to code sandboxes, link to GitHub repository, the relevant information on that Medium article. I'll also link that down in the description. So if you don't like video content and you would like something in a written format, you can check that out. You can follow me also on Medium article, and sort of make sure you also like that article as well. Thank you. Bye.